Yo, what's good with y'all, yo? Now, before I start this video, I don't want y'all Drake fans attacking me and telling me why I'm questioning Drake's blackness. And this is something that has been done by Pusha T, and now even Rick Ross is questioning Drake about his blackness, because it seems like it's really something psychologically that's a problem with him. He never really took any true stance on black people and never really talked about racism in any of his music. He always talks about the black community, he uses the style of the black community, but he never really addresses the real issues that we deal with, like racism, police brutality, colorism. Something that he should know well is colorism, and he never talks about any of those things. So it just made me feel a certain way that with this recent situation of Rick Ross exposing him, it's like maybe we should go into a deep dive of this guy's mindset and why he acts this way. And I feel that it's a problem that goes on in not just his mind, but most biracial people born from interracial parents in America. It seems to be a huge problem. So today we're going to go into a deep dive of Drake the man and why this problem is something psychological and why it's such a big issue in America today. And we're going to start questioning what are these issues that biracial people have. And I'm wondering, is it something that is pushed by the industry? Now, to any black person who has had any consciousness in the last couple of years, the last 10 years, noticed how much stuff has been happening to black people and all the public emphasis that was on prejudice and injustices, from Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, the Ferguson riots, where all celebrities from Justin Bieber to Billie Eilish to all of the pop stars like Taylor Swift has said something. But your boy Champagne Papi, silence. Not only silent, he was radio silent. And Drake never speaks on these issues, and the excuses that he gives us is that we should just act and not speak about it.
When it comes to political issues, I prefer to talk about it amongst my people, and if we're going to do something, I prefer to go and make the change or actually do something and not just like post about it so that people are like, oh wow, this guy's really conscious about what's going on. People post things because they feel like they're obligated to. People post things because they know that it makes them look like they're actively invested in certain things, but they're really not.
Which is true in a way, but if you're Drake and you have so much influence and you have billions of listeners and you're one of the biggest artists to ever live, you have to speak up. You have to use your voice. That's what you are known for. That is what we have to do as black people with a voice. Now you might say, Dale, this does not make him a civil rights activist just because he has billions of listeners and he has a lot of things going on. And that might be true if there weren't people like LeBron James or even Meek Mill has done prison reform. Even he has songs about police brutality and he's a gangster rapper. So for Drake to have an excuse, I won't accept it. And let's not even speak about another fellow biracial rapper, J. Cole, who has put his career and life on the line to speak about black people. He was in Ferguson, Missouri by himself with no security, just being around the people. I mean, today we can even see this man is not in tune with the culture. I mean, he called Rick Ross a racist, for goodness sakes. I mean, this man is starting to sound like a Karen. I feel like he's losing his touch with black people. And I mean, it's almost as if Drake doesn't even identify as a black man. Like, I never heard him in his music say, as a black man, and this has been going on, and, you know, they want my black ass in the prisons. He don't say nothing like that. And I mean, you hear that from most rappers. He doesn't even talk about police in his records. I mean, Drake is so whitewashed, and he just doesn't speak on any real issues. I mean, Rick Ross even posted a video of Drake saying the N-word in a very, very weird way. I'm not making this up.
Somebody that I was like, I used to see out and be like, yo, that's that nigga. You know what I'm saying? He's doing his thing. He open for Jay.
Now, the real question is, why does Drake act this way and you don't see this from other biracial people like a J. Cole, or Bob Marley, or Barack Obama? And this is what I'm going to answer right here. Now, when you look at other celebs who are of biracial heritage, and of course, I mean, have a black parent or they come from a black or white mother and they're interracial, they usually don't know which side they're on. They don't usually know which side to accept. A lot of them have this issue because the world that they came into before they were even able to talk told them that they should be divided. Now, me personally, I know biracial people of all types of mixes, from black and Asian, black and Hispanic, black and white, and they always usually identify as black because the world that you came into told them that they were already black and they were going to have to deal with that off of the rip. I was watching a Tiger Woods documentary, and this black guy, he said his grandkids were biracial, but he told them they were black because that's how America's going to see them. Now you take Logic, for example. Logic is a biracial rapper, and he always gets condemned for telling people that he's biracial. But this should be applauded because unlike Drake, he's actually proud to say he's a black man because he has white privilege and he can use it because his skin is passing as white. Now this same problem has been dealt with by celebrities like Tiger Woods, Mariah Carey, Halle Berry, Obama, and even now like Lotto and Halsey, those type of biracial people that have to deal with those issues on a daily basis. Now, as for Drake, his situation is different because he benefits from his black side. Unlike Obama, who had to deal with being black and it made it more of a weight on him instead of something that helped him prosper. But he uses it to his advantage, and he knows this. He uses like I'm from Houston, Atlanta, Vegas. He uses the Memphis family side from his dad's side. It's like Pusha T says, he uses it as his like black side.
Like, you are silent in all black issues, Drake. You really are. You are really, really silent. I don't hear about anything. You don't stand for nothing. You don't say nothing about nothing. You don't. You don't know where you stand at. Mm-hmm. You don't know where you stand at. Oh, that's why you gotta, you highlight your dad clowning like that. Oh, you run to the Memphis. Oh, I'm Memphis, Houston. That's my black side. You never related. Stop playing.
Like I remember in 2016 when Drake just out of nowhere became Jamaican and started using like patois and started using different languages and using dancehall music. It was more like culture vulturish. It didn't feel like he really felt anything towards that culture. He was just using it and taking advantage of it. And I remember when Joe Budden had dissed him and nobody was listening to those diss tracks because they just thought he was bitter. But what he was saying was true. He said he changes his patois depending on who he's hanging around. Like if he's hanging around Amigos, he'll speak like them. You hang around Future, he'll speak like them. And he'll hang around Jamaicans, he'll speak like them. It's just like he just does so many different culture vulture things that he does. Now this problem isn't something new. It's something that's been happening in America for hundreds of years, where black people treat biracial people as like, you're not black enough, and white people treat black people of biracial descent like, oh, you're black and we won't accept you. It's like they're divided and they don't know which side of the fence they stand on.
This or that, because I'm a light-skinned boy. I'm this, like, man, like I was still, then or now, like motherfuckers was persecuted for being black or white, wasn't accepted by one side or the other side or both sides, didn't know where to fit in, when to fit in, how to fit in. And it's like, that's how I feel today. You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a fuck where I am or who I'm around. I let everybody know that I'm proud to be me. I'm proud to be black. I'm proud to be this, whatever the case. And I've had white people treat me like shit and be like, fuck you, you nigger, and you this and you that. I've heard these things from people. And I could have just sat on in with Massa and been like, oh yeah, I'm white. That's all good. Don't worry. Fuck that. Are you kidding me? No.
Now, as you've seen in the clip, even someone as white passing as Logic has dealt with discrimination. And he looks as white as a Whole Foods shopper. It's like the discrimination just goes on and on for them. And it's never really spoken about. They never speak on these things. And it's like no one will care because we've been brainwashed over centuries thinking that fairer skin is better and thinking that we have to look a certain way. We can't love our own hair. We can't love our own skin. And we're told these things and we start to believe them over time. And while this may seem trivial to us of full black or full white mother and father, background, to biracial people, this is something that is so important to them because they were brought into the world that the faces that they seen and they love, they couldn't love them the same because they were two different skin tones. And like the world that they were in, they have to choose a side. It can be confusing for a child coming into the world and not knowing which side you stand on, and you have to pick one. Like I have to choose between mom or dad, or I won't be accepted by anybody of, full black or full white heritage, as Mariah Carey can attest to in this clip.
I definitely felt like I don't know if it was an outcast, but I felt completely different. I felt like there was nobody who could fully understand my experience. No friend, nobody I grew up with, nobody in school could even come close to relating to my experience because you feel different. Growing up the way that I did, I felt like I wasn't good enough, like I was, I didn't look like one particular group or another.
I mean, we went to a mixed neighborhood, and then what happened was the black children didn't like my children because one of them looked whiter than the other. And they didn't like us because we were living as a black and white couple, and that just wasn't done. We had a bow window in the front of the house, and someone shot through the window.
I feel like I've come a long way in terms of just having people able to accept me. There are still people who, to this day, like in Europe or wherever I am, they'll say, no, you work with all these black artists and you do this and that. No, I've been saying this for like 9 years now, explaining, but no matter how many times you explain something, people don't understand.
Now, I know people of full black or full white heritage would be like, you know, they're only experiencing half the pain of being black, and nobody wants to hear that. You know, they only experience half of our pain. You have that white passing privilege. I even heard Chris Rock be saying, he like, you got the light skin privilege. You won a light skin lottery. He's like, Meghan Markle, you won a light skin lottery. But even Meghan Markle had to deal with a lot of discrimination. She was getting hell for going out with Prince Harry. And it's just like, she's the most white passing woman I've ever seen in my entire life. And she had to deal with discrimination, her and her mother. She said that her mother was called the N-word when she was younger and she didn't really understand. Even in the Netflix documentary, she said, and I quote, it's very different to be a minority but not be treated as a minority off the bat. And I'm sure that's something that biracial people can feel and agree with, just as she said. And as for someone like Meghan, she said that she didn't even experience these issues until she got married into royalty. So she didn't feel like she was treated like a black woman until she married a white man, which is insane to think about. I mean, the amount of racism that this girl received by just being biologically black, you know, just half black, shows a lot about the racism not only in our own country, America, but around the world. But as for Drake, the world that he entered in is completely different than hers, where being white and rap, you know, for like a Jack Harlow or Eminem, is almost as shunned as being black, you know, being married into royalty, because that's our royalty. This is our culture, so we treat it a certain way. We take care of our culture. We love hip hop. It's like the only thing that we have, because hip hop was our royalty, you know, until Drake. Drake is basically the Meghan Markle of hip hop. Now, this ain't a Drake hating video. I'm not Drake's biggest fan, but I'm also not his biggest hater, because I just know that hip hop was moving more towards consciousness until the 2000s when Drake came. Before he came, there were like the Little Johns and the Soulja Boys and all those rappers that were just making music about partying and being rich all day. But Drake made it even more pop appeal and white appeal than maybe even like the Fresh Prince. He was even more whiter than him because he was half white and he was cooler for the suburban kids, so they could feel like he's cool and he's not as corny as a Will Smith. Just as Eminem was ushered in and given a stamp and approval by Dr. Dre, so was Drake when he came in the game with Lil Wayne. And we were like, okay, this guy's cool enough. He's cool enough to hang around the black people now. And I mean, the man now created a own white family of his own, you know, with the porn star girl that's white, all his family's all white, his kids, his mom. After pandering to black women during the whole damn Scorpion album with songs like Nice for What, Ratchet Happy Birthday, In My Feelings, and the video he had the City Girls and all of that stuff. And even then, it felt like that pandering he was doing because he knew that he had a white family that was about to be exposed, even if it was before or after the album came out when Pusha T was going to say it. He must have knew that information was out, so he was pandering with songs like that, with the Lauryn Hill sample and all of the black women in the video. Now, even with all that pandering, Drake still never spoke on the issues that black people deal with on a daily basis, because believe it or not, we're not all drinking champagne and rocking ice like Drake and partying all day. But Drake knows this all good and damn well, but he's never going to speak up on those things because it hurts his bottom line. And as I'll speak into more, a lot of these brothers, that's all they cared about is their bottom line. They don't care about the culture. They don't care about brothers that look just like them, that's struggling, that ain't making millions of dollars every day. And that's why I'll bring in the next topic of this video, that it may be an industry ploy and it's bigger than Drake, because he might not be the only problem in our community, and it might be a controlled problem.
I'm your puppet. You control me. I'm your puppet.
Now, when we look at the industry today at large, we'll see that we don't have too many black celebrities to speak up for us because they don't really understand what we go through anyway. They're too busy living their rich and successful lives. They're too busy partying and being happy all day. And they'll only speak up when something happens that's a hot topic. They'll only speak up when it's a black man that's been shot, or, you know, somebody has some racial discrimination. That's the only time they'll speak up because it benefits them. It's like they'll only say something when it's a hashtag behind it, like they'll just have to jump on it because it's trending. I'm not saying that they don't really care, because they're black people and they have experienced racism. As well, I know a lot of them do good things behind the scenes, which is all good and well and all. But us as black people, we have a lot of history of our black brothers leaving us and going with white girls and never speaking on black issues again like they used to. And they almost used to ruin their careers for it. It's like, how do you go from so politically charged and so worried about black people to being like completely lost and just not caring about black people as a whole. It doesn't seem right. It's like something's going on deeper than that. Now, white people don't have to look for heroes. Black people in our community, we have a very short lack of heroes because we have only heroes in music, only heroes in sports. Those are the only representations of a black successful man or woman that we have. White people already have father figures and role models. I don't really like that word, but they already have role models. So for them, they don't have to look towards anybody else. Oh, and also they run the world, so they can also just look at the world and be like, oh yeah, we're winning. And the white youth struggle is the complete opposite of the black youth struggle, because the black youth has to stay out of trouble while the white youth knows they're already going to succeed, and their whole thing is just, we're already going to be good, we just don't have to F it up. Basically, the white people just struggle with boredom and just try not to be like black people, or what they've portrayed black people to act as is thugs and listening to rap and not working and doing no good to the community. But the black youth, we need role models. And for us, our role models for the last 100 years, other than a few Obamas and Martin Luther Kings here and there, has been rappers, actors, and entertainers, and whatever you call Dr. Umar and Kai Cenat. I mean, other than that, celebrities have been our only role models. I mean, I know growing up good and well, I was the biggest LeBron fan. I mean, I idolized this dude. I watched him do all the good things and, you know, help the community. And I really just loved his game. I was a big fan of all my favorite rappers. I wanted to be just like all my favorite rappers, the Kendrick Lamars, the Eminems, and all of them. And if you were a boxing fan, I knew you were a big fan of Mayweather. But for every LeBron James who shows you what it is to be an upstanding black man and take care of his family, have a beautiful black wife and beautiful black kids, there's the other side. Now, this is not going to be a LeBron Jordan debate about basketball, but Michael Jordan has never really spoken on political issues because, as he said, and I quote, Republicans buy shoes as well.
The Republicans buy gym shoes. Brother, I asked this question. If you wouldn't have said jack about Republicans buying gym shoes, ain't nobody stopped buying shoes. You are who you are. You know it. He knows it. Everybody in the world knows. You ain't gonna stop buying your shoe because you got a political belief. You ain't never had no political belief about nothing. So why now? No, you know what his comment should have been? Not Republicans buy gym shoes. Racists buy gym shoes. That's what it should have been. Because that's what it boiled down to. It wasn't about no Republican or Democrat. That's a ploy too. That's a ploy. That's the number one ploy on the planet.
Which is an insane statement to say. I mean, the rhetoric that he spoke of has been pushed in our minds for hundreds of years, but I'm not even going to get into that in this video. I mean, the message that Michael Jordan told black people is basically just get your money and stick up a big middle finger to the people who came here before you. And I'm telling you, that's what's been taught to us for hundreds of years, and it's really a problem with black people, and that's why we'll just stay entertainment for white people and never really advance as a people and as a society. I mean, damn, Mike, yeah, you made it, but all black people that look like you can't jump from the free throw line or even be able to speak up, or would the white people give a damn about anything they say about the stuff that they're really going through? I mean, yeah, you're a billionaire, but we are not. We don't have that power. We don't have the power in society to change things like you do. You can change communities, black communities. You can change black people's minds. You can make schools like LeBron James did. I mean, we all know the story of OJ and how he's basically the face of self-hating black man who got in the white world and lost himself and didn't really know what he stood at after when white people turned on him. But I'm going to get into that in another video. Another example is one Eldrick Taunt Tiger Woods. Now, even though he experienced racism entering in probably the whitest sport known to man, he never even claimed to be a black man.
A little funny thing is, growing up, I came up with this name. I'm a Cablinasian.
A Cablinasian.
Caucasian, blue, black, Indian, Asian, Cablinasian. If I would have to label myself as anything, ethnic-wise, you know, I always had to check a box, you know, in those little forms and stuff. And they say pick one. I can't. I usually pick African American, Asian, because those are the two households I was raised under.
This makes it even worse for black celebrities with black features and black skin who are still so far from associating with their race, let alone even speaking up on the cultural issues that we face today. But black men like Tiger and OJ are even more disappointing to the black community because they are successful on a whole other level than OJ, who is a Hall of Famer in his right and had a lot of respect and appraisal before the 90s murders. But these men are considered the greatest in their sports and have all of the power to speak on the black community, and people would actually listen. And it's like when they reach their peak, they want to shun away from being black as much as possible. It's like when you should embrace us the most, when you're at the top, when you're winning all those championships, when you're winning whatever they call it in golf. It's like you should embrace us. They seem to shun us away and start to move into a different light. Then it's like they seem to immerse themselves in white culture and never come back to the black community truly again. Other athletes we have, such as Floyd Mayweather, never speak anything about political issues or black people. All he does is flex his money and show how much cars he got and all the success that he's got. He does what is expected and typical of a black celebrity, and it's kind of a shame. And if he has spoken up about black issues, I haven't seen it, and I shouldn't have to look it up considering he's the biggest boxer of all time and has the most pay-per-view sales out of any boxer ever. And as much as he can't read, he damn sure knows how to talk about a lot of stuff that doesn't even mean anything. I mean, comparing him to Muhammad Ali is laughable to say the least outside of the ring as far as political issues and doing things for black people and taking a stand. But I know these issues stretch far out just beyond music and sports, and we have people like Kevin Hart, who Cat Williams basically exposed as being a puppet and has never really spoken out about any black issues like ever. And don't show me him tweeting something or showing up to George Floyd's funeral. It's like them dudes just do that stuff for clout. They do those things for good press more than anything and to sell more movie tickets. You gotta be for the culture more than just to sell a couple movie tickets. And not saying that these dudes don't care, but caring and actually acting is completely different. And doing your duty as a black star is what you have to do is speak up for black people. I mean, Ali damn near died for black people's rights and was nearly sent to jail just for doing the right thing. And I guess you could say we came a long way from the 60s when we were fighting for our civil rights, and the issues that we're dealing with now are nowhere near the level that they were in the 60s. I can agree on that. So of course Mayweather didn't get drafted to the Vietnam War like Muhammad Ali did in the 60s in 2010, like 60 something years later. But that don't mean we have to act like racism doesn't exist, because it's always going to catch back up to us. Just like the Trump era, when we thought racism was over, it came right back to us after Obama had got elected, and we thought the world made this huge turn from being so racist to accepting a black president. But when you look at it closely, you'll start to see that it's just an industry ploy, that they're just pushing a narrative like they're doing now with the gay black man agenda that they've been promoting for the last 10 years. But that's a different topic for a different day. But the point is, America will always push what is convenient and things that they control, which is why they want to ban TikTok right now, because TikTok has been exposing them and people are seeing things for what it truly is now. So do I think it's a push by the industry to make black stars stop speaking up on political issues and take a vow of silence? In a way, yes. I truly believe that Drake in the last 15 years or whatever he's been rapping has wanted to say something significant, but Drake is a puppet just as well as the other stars that I mentioned in this video. And I can't just ignore the fact that Kevin Hart has conveniently never spoke about any, and I mean any, black issues like police brutality or even talked about racism in his comedy. He never spoke about any of those things. I mean, is it a coincidence that a black man from Philly who has seen all of these racial issues go down and grew up in the hood just never speak about anything like that, never have even one comedy line in all the specials that he's had? No, I think that's a rhetorical question. We know that these guys are either just protecting their bottom line or are being told what to do. I think both things are true. Now, when Cat Williams started this year off and exploded with the Shannon Sharpe interview, he exposed a lot of the puppets and not the puppet masters. He called out a lot of people who were doing the puppet things. Drake is a part of these puppets for sure. I mean, he hasn't even taken a year off since 2015 to make a decent album, and it's showing. And I think they're doing that for a reason. I mean, I even question this beef with Kendrick Lamar right now. Is it just a ploy to distract black people because there's a war going on? It's like, why does it just seem to be so divided right now? Now everybody wants to divide. And Vince Staples seems to agree.
Borderline soft shoe, to be honest. It's kind of a little coonery. Y'all got real happy when niggas start rap beefing. No. But then y'all got real sad when niggas lose their publishing and niggas go to jail and niggas die and all the other stuff. It's we either with the cooner or we not, bro. Who? Why are we at war with the nigga that's making the song and not the motherfucker who own the whole thing? We don't say their name at all.
You're saying our attention is being diverted again. Mm-hmm. That's
what you're saying. We don't want to pay attention. I don't think that is just some conspiracy. I think we just in the bullshit. And we literally just saw these niggas destroy. We seen niggas pulling catalogs off of streaming services. And just a whole bunch of sick shit that's way crazier going on. I love y'all, man. Keep jigging and booing, man. We need y'all.
I mean, Drake is just a face as Jordan was, Kevin Hart, or Tiger are, of fame taking over your own morals. because the industry won't push artists like Little Sims who rapping like Lauryn Hill and pushing a good image of black women and actually be a dope rapper and talk about topics that actually matter. No, they'll just use Drake to hang around Sexy Red to promote the biggest industry plant ever and have her promote all of the sexual images of black women in the lowest form of them. And not to mention that she has less talent than a kindergarten rapper at a talent show. But I regress. They'll just keep promoting unfunny comedians like Gerard Carmichael and Tiffany Haddish because he promotes the gay black man image and she promotes the ratchet image of a black woman that they keep promoting and that has been spread for hundreds of years. That basically every black woman portrays in the media and is promoted to young black girls. Instead of promoting actual funny comedians like Black Ron, Carlos Miller, Chico Bean, the whole 85 South show, or even skit comedians like RDC World is one of my favorite groups, and they even said that the industry won't let them make movies or do anything without promoting black stereotypes, and they'll try to change up the scripts and stuff. So maybe after all, the issue with Drake isn't an issue with Drake. It's an issue with America, black America, and the industry that has been the same for so long and probably won't change after all. So in conclusion, none of this is a dig at Drake, and it's nothing about him personally. No matter what I say, Drake is at least 50% black. No matter if he loves his mom more, his Jewish mom more, he loves his black dad more, it doesn't matter. He is black, and he is considered black by American standards. And whatever the hell Drake's own personal issue is with his biracial identity, if you want to call it an issue for a 100 millionaire, that's his business. And to be honest, Drake doesn't have any more self-hating racial identity problems than any other black person in America. We all have it from hundreds of years of slavery that we still deal with today. Whether you know it or not, we all have colorism issues. You see black men preferring more light-skinned women because of the slavery ideas that lighter skin is better, and even preferring white women because of fairer skin in America is what we are taught. You'll see most black women even wearing blonde wigs nowadays. They don't love their hair, they're wearing wigs, and they'll side-eye a black man for being with a white woman because of slavery and all those years of racial discrimination and divided, mentality that we have all together. The point is, it's way bigger than a Drake, it's way bigger than a Michael Jackson bleaching his skin, or all of the self-hating acts that we've seen from our greatest role models for so many years. It's bigger than them. Because at the end of the day, we all have these problems that, if we're being honest, won't be fixed in even our own lifetimes. Drake is just a child born of parents of two different skin colors in a country that would make them divided and be confused and not know which side that he has to choose from. Just like him, most kids that are biracial feel like they're in a war and they're stuck in the middle, and they have to pick a side because if they're in the middle, they'll be like a casualty at war, and they don't want to be stuck between that, so it feels very tough on them. And that's my whole point of this video, just to bring awareness to that. It wasn't even to tear down Drake, it was just using Drake as an example of the biracial struggle and just the racial struggle in America that we usually just let slide, or we don't really care about and don't pay attention to. Personally, I was the fan of the old Drake anyway. I like Drake, Drizzy Drake, when he used to be with Tyga, Lil Wayne, the whole Young Money crew. But Drake has outranked even his own mentor, Lil Wayne, and has become one of the biggest pop stars we have ever seen in our entire lives. And yes, I said pop, because even if he became pop, he became so popular that he even outpassed Michael Jackson in #1 hits. So I'd say he's pretty successful. So yes, Drake is not an activist. He's a pop star like Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber. He will never speak or be like Kendrick or J. Cole. That's not his lane. That's not his format. And all of that's cool, but he can't be mad at us when we don't see his achievements as black excellence, when even the man that he surpassed in hits who bleached his skin spoke out more about black people's issues than him. Nah, I'm just playing though, but I'm gonna tap back in with y'all later, man. Appreciate y'all. Peace. Be easy. God bless y'all, man. For real.
Thank you. Far too kind.